Welcome to Wax On, Wax Off, the podcast where a teenager gains wisdom and insight from pioneers and innovators that have come before in search of how to win in every facet of life and change the world. I'm your host, Solomon Cole. Let's get into today's episode. So, for today's episode, I'm not in my room. I don't know where I am. I'm just kidding. I am in the studio of the Who Needs a Name podcast with PB&J, and that's exactly who I'm talking to today. Welcome, Pastor Brandon, who has been on the episode before, and Mr. Josh Balogh.
Hey! What's up, Solomon?
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you guys
round
here.
Two.
Yep, round two.
Oh my gosh.
We just recorded.
Round one.
For me.
Yeah, we just recorded an episode for these guys' podcast, and I love what you guys are doing, number one, and I love that you guys are creating content and doing something as friends too. I think it's really awesome.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks,
you were our
man.
first guest.
You were.
Yeah.
Which we're
That's
really
true.
excited about. That's
true.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to ask, what do you do, whether that's career or whatever, and why do you do it?
Yeah, Josh.
Okay, so I think the whatever was directed towards me because I don't do much right now. But
No.
So who am I and what do I do?
Yeah, what do you do and why do you do it?
Okay.
And I guess you could tell them a little bit about yourself. Like, what's
Okay.
your favorite food and color?
All right, my
That's
favorite
good.
food is tacos. My favorite color is orange. And what do
You
I?
could have flipped it.
My favorite color is tacos. My favorite. Did I say that wrong?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. So I am a recent college graduate
Come on.
from Robert Morris University.
All right, you baby.
So I'm currently looking for a job, like full time within that. But right now I work part time at a Target, and I work full time with Who Needs a Name
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah,
Our
and
podcast.
I do that because I really think God has put on my heart to share the wisdom and to just teach people about things that I've learned and kind of go through life in an authentic way. And especially with this guy, we just have really good conversations
100%.
and we're just on the same brainwave with that. And so we're just running with it.
Yeah.
Very cool. They
know
seen that
you.
episode before, they may know me. But,
You should check out the do like a brief,
am-
like a par 4.
Okay, I'll do a part three. A part three. How about that? I am Brandon. I am a full-time pastor overseeing the Next Gen Ministries at our different campuses for our
Which
church.
that's different from when you were were on the
when I was
podcast
on-
last.
What was I? Worship pastor.
You're a worship pastor.
Worship and college.
Climbing the
Yeah.
ranks, folks.
And now, oh please. And I also am starting a podcast with this guy. I'm wedding planning because I'm engaged.
Come
I don't know if
on.
I was engaged last episode.
I think you were.
So I have that going on. Trying to buy a house right now in this season of life. So that's happened. I'm in school for my master's degree. So I have that happening. There's just a little taste in
Yeah.
my life in this season. What's
It's
going
awesome
on.
though. You're doing
Yeah.
a lot of good things.
Also, let's say this: that all three of us have to leave in 40 minutes, and so we're going to pack this episode with so much depth within this
Wisdom.
short span time that we have, because we have a short amount of time.
Yep.
But we're not going
It's
to
about to be a
So,
dense episode.
Yep.
also, I have to say this at the beginning. I'm so proud of you for your podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So for everyone listening, this guy's amazing.
He's the man.
I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you, and I love being a part
Thank
anytime
you.
that you, anytime you ask. So you're
Yeah.
the man, and I love
Thank
you.
you. So for the listeners who don't know, what is your podcast?
Oh, Who Needs a Name with PB&J? It is a podcast centered around real life, real convos, real guys. And so there's so many, and especially in the Christian world that we live in, there are so many conversations that take place, but they can feel kind of phony. They can feel kind of fake. And so just a space to have real conversations about things that really matter that hopefully will add value to the lives of those who listen in practical and applicable ways.
Yeah.
What did it take for both of you to start your podcast, both like practically and then like habitually?
Ooh, so I think we should just start from like the beginning, right? I had to go on a school trip. Well, I didn't have to. I did this project for my final, and I had to drive to Lake Erie. And I asked this guy, I'm like, hey, do you want to come with me? And so we did this drive, and on the way back, we're like, dude, we should really do a podcast. And we
It
just
really started because all of our car ride combos
yeah,
were so
that's-
good.
yeah, we were like, this is so good. We need to like share this. And so at that time, we created a note. I know there's not pages on notes, but it was literally like we had what we needed, who we were gonna like potential guests. We had potential topics, how long the episodes were gonna be, what all we needed, software wise, set wise. We were going through all these things,
Yeah.
and we were just like going back and forth about like the different ideas, and we just kept spitting ideas back and forth, and that kept going for like a week or so.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, this needs to like get off the ground. It's like, what is the first step we need to do? And it's like, we were like, okay, this is when we were going to record the first episode. We picked the date. And then I did a lot of the technical stuff because, computer science major. So I know a lot of the stuff. And I've recorded.
Hire him.
Yeah, hire me. I need a job. But this is actually really cool because before this, I started doing not a lot of YouTube, but I did I Inspire Collective recaps of this guy's messages, and I would post them. So I was already familiar with editing. I was familiar with recording, and it was kind of like an easy transition into this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we kind of just figured out a set. He got a new apartment, so it was like we just had a studio there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And right here.
Yeah, 100%. And so it really started as this wild idea that within 4 weeks, this guy especially helped to pull together a lot of the practical things.
Mm-hmm.
And still right now, I mean, he does a lot of content creation, which I'm so thankful for because sometimes I feel like I'm a madman running around with my head cut off or whatever the saying is. It's definitely not it. But he just pours in so much time and energy. And we've kind of just found, okay, what are you good at? What am I good at? But it had to go beyond a dream into actual, because I'm a dreamer, right? I like to think, we should do this, we should do that. I feel like in the middle of starting 8 different things, right? And I love that. But to actually execute, I think took a lot of intentionality, a lot of planning, and just a lot of tracking. What are we doing? When are we doing it? We have set recording times. We have topics. We have just a whole structure in place to help support the dream to get where it needs to go.
Yeah. Has it been hard for you, having all those things on your plate and having to figure out the balance? And I guess, how did you find that balance?
Yeah, so I like to view everything in my life not as a balance, but an integration. And so there aren't these dividers or these barriers or walls where it's like, hey, for this portion of my life, I'm going to pastor people. And for this portion, I'm going to do a podcast. And this portion, I'm going to do school. I don't really like to do that. I like to just think, okay, these are all the things and all the dreams and all the ambitions. And with all the time I have, let's integrate them all. Because like you, I'm like ADHD, right? So actually having different things where I can focus and then pivot, focus, but not having hard barriers really helps me. But it can feel overwhelming at times. And it can just feel like in this season of life, I've just accepted less sleep, more of an outcome, right? That's okay. Probably until I'm married, it's going to be the reality if I want to keep doing all the things I'm doing. Totally. So, that's a little bit of how I view it.
Both of you are running this podcast and you have to do things on social media. What have you found in your personal lives with social media? If there was a button, let's imagine.
Okay.
There's a button.
Imagine.
I want to hit it. I want to hit the button.
Here's the button. Don't press it yet. Don't press it yet.
I want to smack
easy.
the button.
Don't hit the mic.
Okay. Here's a button, right?
Uh-huh.
If you could press it, and if you pressed it and it went, and then social media is gone, would you do it? And if so, why? And then if not, why not?
What I do?
You asked me this last time.
I want to hear Josh, Mr. Balogh.
My answer, no. I would not hit the button.
Why?
Because I feel like social media can be such a tool when used in the correct way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I could hit a button and restart social media, I would probably do that instead.
Okay. What would you say is using it the proper way?
I think a lot of time, it's so difficult. I think before, when social media first came out, it was cool because, we didn't have a way to interact with people beyond face to face, and this gave us an opportunity to do that. But then once people started to get addicted to it, there wasn't any sort of control. There wasn't sort of any boundary you could go. You could be on social media for however long you would want because it's all in your control. So I feel like. I can't with you two. I feel like I would create a sort of boundary on it to, I don't know. It's a lot more dependent on the user for how it affects you.
Yeah.
So I feel
individuality.
Yeah, individuality for sure with social media. So I think it just comes down to the person. So if I could rework it, it would be in a sense where I would take. I don't know how this would work, so don't ask me how. But
valid.
If you could rework it in a sense to where how addicted you get to it wasn't dependent so much on the user.
Totally.
That's good. I'll just say this, that if you want to hear my answer, go look at our last episode.
Yep, we talked about it.
Run up those numbers. Come on. I'm not even going to answer.
He's almost one of the... You're number 2, I think, for the highest listened episode.
What the heck, guys? Make it number 1.
Yeah, I know. For real. What's the problem?
If it's Dr. Wookle, I'm okay being second.
It is Dr. Wookle.
Okay. I'm happy to be second to
You'll
Dr.
be the
Wookle.
You'll be the queen to his
Love
king.
you, Will.
Can this be the prince? Can I be the prince?
You could be the prince, bro. Okay, yeah. cancel culture is so prevalent, like on
boy.
social media. We were talking about social media. Why do you think that cancel culture is a thing, and why do you think that people want to silence people that don't have the same opinion as them? Because I find it sometimes I'll be like seeing something that I don't want to hear, and I'll be like, get out of here, like what I don't want to hear you. But then I have to check myself, and I have to be like, wait, no, these are people, they deserve a chance to speak. They deserve a chance to have their space to talk. They deserve the freedom to speak, whether you're viewing it from an American or just even like, I want to be a good person to everyone kind of view. Why do you think that is that just the natural human condition?
We naturally now as a society just want to can everybody that we disagree with for any reason. And the ironic part on social media is like you as an individual already can. You can unfriend, you can unfollow. You can just choose, I don't want to see their post. And that's okay. But now we just think, okay, somebody did something that I don't like or that makes me uncomfy. Yeah. And also I would say this, like you grow through having your positions challenged. And I'm not talking about, okay, let's not even get into the super extremes, right? Like, yeah, somebody is calling for violence and doing all this stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about somebody just shares an unpopular opinion that is not directly harmful in any way, and we just want to shut them down. Or they said or did something that they apologized for that was 10 years ago, and we're like, well, you no longer deserve to be a part of our society or part of our culture. And they're like, I'm not that person anymore. Like, I feel bad. We just can them. And I think a lot of it is honestly rooted in pride, because it's like, I think that I'm superior to them, and if I were them, I wouldn't have done this. Instead of realizing like we're all flawed and we all have said and done things that we regret. Like if I wasn't into Xbox, so I don't know this, but like look at the Xbox chat logs or whatever. It's like if those were all
the
leaked,
party
like,
logs, I'd definitely go to jail. Honestly, we're all real guys over here, so
yeah. And so it's like we've all said or done things that we're ashamed of and that we wouldn't like broadcast to the world. And so let's have a little bit of grace for some people. Yeah. And let's also understand it's not good for us to just cancel every voice we don't agree with. We need that challenge. If you really believe in what you stand for, you should not be afraid of a challenge. Otherwise, I would say you probably really don't believe in it. Yeah.
Also, I want to say I didn't do anything to go to jail. I just want to state that I did nothing criminally. I had no criminal behavior. It was just a joke. But I completely agree with you in the sense of like, if you don't like what you're seeing, you can just like unfollow it. And then if you're going to start canceling people because you don't agree with them, okay, so then like what is the line? Yeah. Like what is within that boundary? And if you're going to create a boundary, then it's not freedom of speech. And I feel like that's what you have to keep in mind. It's like, yeah, we might not agree with some people, and yeah, their takes might be completely outrageous, but that doesn't take away their right to speak.
And I think you need to see the humanity in people. And I think that's forgotten because you're looking at them through a screen. You're not looking at them physically as a human. And that's where this keyboard warrior syndrome, as I call it, comes out, is because you're not actually you're seeing the human, right? You're seeing, oh, they're a human, but you're not actually seeing the humanity, like the physical, tangible. You're not feeling the emotions. You're getting, I think it's like 23 or 7%, whatever, one of those two, percent of conversation, whereas 55% of conversation is actually just body language and physical body language, and you're not experiencing that if you're not in the room with them.
I think it's like 80% is nonverbal.
I think it's 55.
Yeah.
Oh no, but you're right.
He's a communications major, man.
Yeah, you're right. No, it's 77. Yeah,
it's something like that.
Yeah,
I'm probably wrong.
I don't know the percent. Yeah, but yeah, that's I never thought about that.
It's the same reason why we have road rage.
Yep.
Because, we'll pop off at someone cutting us off in traffic,
and then once that door opens, you're like.
Yeah, we would never talk to an actual person, but because they look like a car, because it looks like a Facebook profile, because it looks like another Instagram profile, we dehumanize people, and then we respond in a dehumanizing way because we don't view them the way they actually are with value.
Yeah. I really like how you said it, but it's like you gotta like humble yourself almost, right? I'm going through some like this like season of like being humble, and it's like if you want to cancel someone, it's like, okay, humble yourself first, because if you're trying to cancel, it's like the verse in the Bible, I can't remember the exact thing, but it's like, okay, if you're trying to pick out a speck in your brother's eye, look at the log that you have in your own eye. And I feel like that's a lot of cancel culture. We're trying to tweak and make sure people are saying the right things, but it's like what are you saying?
Yeah. And I also think it's like, do unto others as you would like them to do unto yourself.
The golden rule.
Yeah. The golden rule. It's made out of gold.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It excuses everything people do and say, but it is saying there's room for grace and forgiveness for stuff that people have done, and there's also room for disagreement. We need to disagree as a society, otherwise we become really weak.
Yeah, there's room for conversation. And
and there's I think it's a feel good culture, mainly put by social media because it's these quick validations.
Yeah.
You're feeling good, pew, pew, pew,
Yeah.
feeling good, getting that dopamine high, and I think now what's going on is like anything that like when they're scrolling, right? They're scrolling, feel good, feel good, feel good, feel good, and then they get to that thing and they're like, oh, I don't like that. I don't want to deal with that at all.
Yeah.
And then they'll cut that. They'll be like, okay, how do I cut that out? Then they'll go to their friends who also have the same opinions as them, which is also another thing. You need to have people around you who challenge you, who disagree, because you're never going to grow if you don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just this feel good, and then all her feel good or his feel good people are all like, oh, let's cancel this person for their feel good or for their thing that doesn't make us feel good. Yeah. And I think that's part of it. Also, what we talked about beforehand. Do you think aliens are real?
Oh, this is so interesting. And I'm here for it.
We said we're in a packet. Dude. Sure.
Also, aren't these things the best?
Yeah, they're pretty great.
They're pretty nice. I'm gonna hold both of them, unless you want yours.
I can hold mine.
Okay. PB&J, get it?
Yeah. Do I think aliens are real? I can neither nor confirm nor deny that aliens are real, but I believe that yes.
I didn't either confirm nor deny, but yeah.
I'm okay. I'm undecided.
Okay.
I'll decide.
I
got him.
Here's the deal. Originally, I would say no. But Lee, if anybody knows Lee, watching,
he should be on the podcast. What am I doing?
He should. He sent me many a thing about aliens and pyramids and sightings and the government and many things that have got me questioning quite a few of my thoughts. Yeah. So I'm undecided, man. Okay. And Christians get weird about that because they're there can't be aliens.
No, I've listened to some like the biblical alien stuff like on like History Channel. I'm not saying that it's true or anything, but it's very fascinating.
Well, I want to sit down because it's not a topic I've dove into a lot from a Christian perspective. I want to sit down with somebody who is like, the Bible says aliens can't be real, and be like, why? Because I don't. Yeah. Jenny, I don't.
I think most of the time, I don't think it's nothing about it. I don't really think there's anything about this necessarily unbiblical.
I know.
I think it's people have to rationalize stuff that they don't understand, and I think that's why if they see something on their phone that they're like, oh, I don't like that, then they're gonna be like, I don't understand that. I'm gonna cut you off. I've seen that with a lot of people, and they don't want to accept certain people for certain things.
And I'm not saying aliens are other humans. Why can't they just be? Green monsters.
Yeah, like I think
I
people
think they're green monsters.
All out of their little,
who knows,
little space SUVs.
Yeah. We need to get Lee on here. We could do like a whole panel. Oh my gosh, it'd be amazing.
Lee. Okay, I want to be on it with Lee.
Oh, for sure.
Okay,
yeah.
And Lee.
Yeah.
Okay, and you.
And Josh, of course.
I'm here for the conversation.
Wait, this could be like a recurring thing.
This could be
a panel.
This could be good.
I think this actually goes in with the alien.
PB&J sandwich.
S.
Oh,
what's the L?
PB&J
Peanut butter and lettuce sandwich. Lee.
Oh yeah.
Love PB&J.
Yeah.
But I think so with the alien thing, right? It gets in like curiosity, and I think especially in today's world, like curiosity is dead. Mm-hmm. Especially with this whole generation, because it's either like it either has to be
or like imagination
and dreaming and curiosity is like dead, but it's like. Yeah, will we
That's
ever?
Where innovation comes from, though.
Yeah, it's like, will we ever really know? Maybe, but like right now we don't, and so people are like so closed-minded about it. But it's like, okay, just like be creative for a little bit.
Yeah,
like let your mind wander. Like, do you think it's like okay? Yeah, in my mind, I think about how big the universe is, and it's just like, whoa.
It's good to think. I think people because
exercise your brain.
Yeah, it's good to just be with your thoughts in the morning. Something that I've started doing is I put soundproof headphones on until I like have to hear something from someone or I have to talk to somebody.
That. Yeah,
I will keep soundproof headphones on. I can't hear anything, and I'm just with my thoughts. And it's crazy.
Interesting.
Because I'm scared of being with myself and hearing my thoughts and being with that. So I'll listen to a podcast or listen to music or be on Instagram, whatever.
But you face it.
But I have to face it now. I'm making myself confront it, and it's been really good. And I think that's something that people should try.
it would be a thrilling place to be in the mind of Solomon.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary. It's just so fast. It's so fast. It's like going 1,000 miles per hour. Yeah.
I think just in general, it would be fascinating to be in the mind of anyone else. Because Solomon's such a cool guy, and his brain works such in a cool way. But it's like, to be, like, I think we don't really see how different, like, we all think sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, even, like, me and you think similarly, but, like, what goes on in here.
Do we?
I think some parts.
Okay.
I think in some aspects. But, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the way we think, I don't think is, like, similar at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say my generation, your generation, what would you say are the biggest strengths?
Are we saying we're in the same generation?
Are we?
No, my generation, your generation, referring to the two different generations.
I think we're in the same. Are we not in the same generation?
I'm Gen Z.
Yeah,
How old are you?
21.
We're Gen Z. You're Gen Z.
I'm Gen Z.
We're all Gen Z.
Okay, epic gamer.
Wow.
Look at that. No, sorry, that was really loud.
Yeah. So,
Let's go.
What do you
We're
think
all
are
same
our
generation.
strengths as a generation?
Ooh.
I already answered this too.
You did.
Josh, you go.
Okay, our strength in this generation, I think the will behind what we believe is a strength, right? Like with our generation, when we think something is the truth, when we believe in something, we will not like back down from it. I feel like, and it could also be a weakness too, but it's like it's almost on a line of like stubbornness, and it's like not that we're not open to hearing other people, but it's like we believe what we believe, and we're not gonna like let that like shake or fade because of like what other people are saying to us. So I feel like that can be a huge strength.
I think we are like, we will not settle for something that's fake. We want something that is pure and real.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's like, you even see an app like Be Real. That's why Be Real is like huge, and it just like was like some random social media app. But it's like people want to like see real life. They want like legitimacy.
Yeah.
What do you think are our biggest weaknesses as a generation?
I think this feels like a solo interview.
Ooh.
But
Well,
I mean,
for these it is.
Yeah.
Because I really want to pass. No,
weakness
I don't wanna pass
as a
Dr. Wilcom.
generation.
Never
I
mind.
think-
Never mind.
I think it definitely
Listen to it.
a weakness is we grew up, especially like our generation, right? So are you like at the end of our generation?
Yeah, I'm like,
Let's say you're at the end and you're at the start of it, right?
oh, you oldie.
I'm dying first.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily true.
Like
Buses exist.
we weren't born with social media, but we grew up with it, and I feel like that in itself was a weakness.
Push the button.
No,
Push
I'm not pushing the button, because if I could change it, I wouldn't eliminate it. And I think growing up with social media definitely impacts our social ability for sure. And I think that is a weakness of our generation, that we've grown up, and especially like as of like right now, we are like living in a day and age of like, we just like communicate on our phone way too much. We're just on our phone way too much. And I feel like if we got away from that, we could really be like changing the world. Like, and I know you are really doing some cool things, and like your screen time is probably like 10% compared to like the average like Gen Z.
Yeah.
An hour and 41 minutes to 2 hours. And
Yeah, it's
15
insane.
minutes.
I mean, mine is like 4 hours, but I mean, I watch a lot of like videos and stuff on my phone. I just like listen to it. It's like the screen is on, but I'm not really watching it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably say how addicted we are to our phones as a generation is definitely a
Yeah, and I think an
weakness.
easy solution to that, whether you want it or not, I think you should set a downtime or have someone as an accountability partner set a downtime on your phone. I know successful people who literally run like multi-million-dollar companies, and their spouse or their friend or their business partner will set a downtime on their phone. And these are people who like need to be on their phone. But once they hit that a certain hour limit, they're done, and they can send a request to that person, and that person can be like, call them up, oh, what do you need this for?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, okay, I need to do this is for work. And they'll be like, okay, you can have 15 more minutes. And you're treating yourself like a child, because when it comes to like social media and that high, it can become addictive, and you act like an addict or a child because it feels so good, and you don't have that self-control.
Yeah.
And then once you do the downtime, you build that self-control because you're restricting yourself from getting that dopamine.
Yeah.
high.
This is so good.
Good.
I was gonna say, this goes back to how you're talking about that feel good we get from social media. I think it's because we're so addicted to it that when we do experience something that doesn't make us feel good, because we've been so attached to it, like scrolling, making us feel good, and the algorithms on our phone just like feed into that. When we don't get something like that, that's when it goes into cancel culture. So I think that definitely like connects to that for sure.
Yeah, I think it's like a widely accepted drug in a way, because it gives you like, it's addictive. You have
No, it literally is dopamine.
It is a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
you have withdrawals if you try and do it. You're
Yeah.
gonna go do it.
Yeah.
Whether you're like you're like sweating and like
Yeah.
freaking
The
out.
phantom buzz. The phantom buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phantom vibration sensation. That's
Yeah,
what it's
yeah,
called.
yeah.
Yep.
It's a
AKA
Phantom buzz. That's what we call it on the Who Needs a Name podcast.
Yeah.
That's right. Not as
Not the phantom
Scientific.
vibrational,
you know.
Yeah.
No, accountability is key in so many aspects of life.
So many
You
aspects.
need that-
It's the
you
key
need
to
that
success.
Not just with your friends.
It's
You need that
so
with
much.
every aspect of your life. I think that's important. Can I add on to my last?
Go for it. Yeah.
I listened to the last episode, but like I would also say this: one of the weaknesses, or one of the strengths of this generation, I think, is drive. Right? I think there is actually a lot of motivation. I think the next generation wants to do crazy big things. I think they're dreamers. I think that they're innovators. I think they're entrepreneurial. I think they're all of those things. But, and we just talked about this in our episode, I think one of the lacks is the discipline to go along with the drive, right? And so the reason being, I think you hit on it, we have so many distractions in our way that just limit the potential, limit the capacity.
Yeah.
So I think we need to find ways through accountability to make sure that what we're devoting our time to is building the disciplines to support the drive to get us to the destination that we want to arrive at. Wow.
Ooh, analogies.
That's good.
In your opinion, what would you say is the biggest problem in the world right now?
Oh, wow. Wow. You really hit us with that?
Oh.
These are just.
Biggest
This is what I
problem in
think
the
about on a
world
daily basis.
Right now, well, you know my answer. My answer, I'm a pastor,
Yeah.
is going to be this.
Jesus.
We need to do a better job of not just talking about Jesus, but showing Jesus. Because I think if the world truly got Jesus, a lot, and I'm not trying to make everything spiritual. There are real problems. There are, absolutely. But I think Jesus is a real solution as well, right? And so you asked a pastor onto our set, your show. And I think that if the church would not just know Jesus, but show Jesus to the
Ooh,
world,
it rhymes, so it's
the world
true.
would look a lot different. If we would become, if people could encounter him for who he really is, I think a lot of problems begin to dissipate, because all problems at the end of the day start in the heart.
Yeah.
You know, like they're manifest through actions and decisions, but it all flows from the heart. And so if you can change someone's heart, you can change what practically is going on. So I think, to me, that's the biggest problem, is we have a church, at least in Western culture, that has grown so comfortable and sat back. And even the most bold within the church are so reserved, historically speaking and globally speaking, that
The dew has
they're not
become
willing.
forgotten.
Yeah, they're not actually willing to do radical things to shift the trajectory of the world through the gospel like we once were. And so we need a group to rise up that will really, really walk in that and take that calling on.
Yeah. I think, and this kind of plays into that too, I think the biggest problem in the world today is that a lot of people don't do this but are afraid to do this, and we need to start doing it. We need to first understand that you can be honest and honor someone at the same time, and we need to always show that, right? Because I feel like that comes down like the whole like church thing, right? If you are honoring people and you are honest, then those things will happen. Like truly, if you are truly honoring and you are truly honest with yourself and with other people, those things will happen. And I think just generally in life, we need to be able to honor people the correct way and show them love, but at the same time, be honest with them and do it in a healthy way.
And I think we talked about this on your episode, but it's you have to be at a certain level of rapport with those people that you can actually speak into it, because you can't just treat them with honor and be honest with them. You also have to have that relationship with them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's really quick. Like I was working last night with this girl, and we hit it off so well that we just started talking about like where we're at spiritually, and we were like talking about religion while we're scooping ice cream. Like it was insane, and I can't do that with everyone. And some people will get hurt by that, they'll get offended by that, and that's okay.
I think there's levels to it though. It's like, that's a very that's a close level of being honest and showing honor.
It's knowing when to speak.
Yeah, it's knowing when to speak, but like you can also show honor and be honest with like a random stranger. Yes,
that's true.
You don't have to be like, yes, this is where I'm at spiritually with God, and like these are the temptations I'm going through, and it's like, I'm experiencing a lot of lust right now, and it's like, no, but you can show a genuine honor and respect toward anyone you encounter in life. And I feel like if everyone did that, a lot of the problems in today's world would be fixed.
I would agree.
So we're gonna do kind of like the last segment or like the lightning round.
Oh,
Love it.
ka-chow.
I love lightning.
My queen. Anyway.
Tomato.
How do each of you define success?
You go.
Okay. I think success for me is becoming the man of God that God's made me to be, but more practically, it's doing the things and building the habits consistently every day. That is success. Because I could be like, success is like when our podcast hits X amount of subscribers or X amount of listens or when we get monetized, right? I think those should be goals and those are great. But I think success is working towards the person that I want to become, and in doing that requires consistency. Like what Brother Craig says. Love Brother Craig Rochelle. He says what great people do consistently or what average people do occasionally. And it's like, so for me, success is doing the things I need to do in order to become the person I need to become on an everyday basis. And like when I do that, when I go to sleep at the end of the day and I'm like, wow, I really worked on myself today. I did this, this, and this. Obviously I'm not perfect, right? But if I'm learning and I'm working, surprisingly, shocker guys. But if I'm learning and I'm working towards that consistently, that's success.
Yeah, I think in a nutshell, I would say success to me is doing whatever God calls me to do. I would also say this. A lot of what God's already told me to do is written in his word, and so I know. And so making those daily disciplines within my life.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that can get as practical as your physical health, which is what really inspired me to get serious about this. Everyone thinks it's the wedding. It really wasn't. It was a spiritual revelation of the impact that has on my life, right? But I think down to what you think about, I think down to how you treat other people, like the really practical disciplines. I don't just mean what God tells me to do in some mystical sense. No, like what God's already called me to do. And I also think success is not a destination. It's just part of the journey, right? And so it's not just, I will be successful then. Success is whenever, I think that's also Craig, whenever I choose the right things today. That's whenever you're living a success-filled in a successful life where you'll feel satisfied, is whenever day by day, hour by hour, you're choosing in the small things, the little things, to reach out to someone, to love somebody, to act this way, and to make the decisions that will form who I'm really called to be.
The last question is, I really want to know, like, you guys are both amazing people. You are people who are growing.
Wow.
You are people who are successful, both personally, like both like in your personal life and in like pretty much anything you try to do. What are you trying to overcome right now? Like, what's your biggest struggle? And then how do you think you're going to do that?
Ooh, I have a good answer.
Oh, go. Yeah.
The biggest struggle that I'm going through right now is learning that my life isn't a self-improvement project. In a sense of like, yes, I love working and growing, but at the same time to celebrate. To realize that it's not like I'm not building, like we talk about this a lot, and it's like I'm like building a house, and it's like I built the house great, and there's a whole bunch of holes in the wall, and I'm like patching up all these holes, and I'm like I just decorated the living room, and it's like I'm just looking for the next thing. It's like enjoy the place you just made and like sit and
you have a house.
Yes.
It might have holes in it, but at least you have a
I
house.
have a house. It's like I build a house. I'm like, well, what about the backyard? What about the grass? What about the fence? And
So would you say it's more like having a healthier relation with self-help, like helping yourself? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's having a healthier relationship with self-help. And I also think it definitely is some things with me, like in like being enough, like being worthy enough, just like from like growing up having like a performance-based like relationship with like different like family members. That is like something I'm probably going through right now. Yeah. Get a little real and authentic.
Totally.
I would say, you know this about me after all the years, but I really love to dream, and I really love to be big picture, and I really love to like I have crazy big plans for my life that I believe are of the Lord and all that, and I can oftentimes get really discouraged whenever I'm like, and I know I just talked about this, like it's in the success of the day, but like that's what I'm currently learning is really like people would look at me from the outside, if I'm being honest, and they would say, you've been really successful. Look at all the things like you've accomplished with your life and look where you're at. And I do not see myself that way at all, because I'm like, look at where I need to be and look at where I like when I think about the dreams and the ambitions that I want to pursue and where I want to be, I'm like, I'm nowhere near it. And so it's easy to get discouraged and to get burnt out along the way. But every once in a while, taking a step or taking a moment to just step back and to look and to realize, yes, I am going to pursue these dreams with all that I have, but let's not miss this moment and to kind of celebrate it as well in terms of everything that has already occurred.
Totally. Yeah, I feel the same way as you, and like trying to like, because it just seems like I'm in a permanent state of trying, which can be exhausting, and I have to like when I kind of get to a point where I hit like that limit where I've tried so much that it's exhausting and I need a break, and then I shame myself for taking a break. Yeah. And instead, I've switched my mindset just recently. Is instead of viewing it as I'm trying to do this and I have this goal that I'm trying to get to, it's I'm training and it's a permanent state versus a temporary or goal, get there, goal, get there. It's it's a linear path that I'm walking every single day. Yeah. And if I need to go, there's a cool bench or a great view, I'm going to go over there and do that and enjoy that. Yeah. Then I'll come back and keep walking. And it's having that grace for yourself.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's like you're not attempting to do something, you are doing something. And it's like in that you can relax.
100%.
Yeah. It's really good.
Well, thank you guys for being on the podcast.
Dude, thank you.
This is an amazing conversation.
It's an honor being on here. Yeah.
I want to have you guys back on next week. No,
you know what I think needs to happen, and I think people should let you know. It's wax on, wax off. We should do a waxing of the armpits.
Oh my god!
Like live?
Wax on, wax off.
Let's do it.
I mean,
or leg hair.
Look at all those guys' leg hair. You guys see
I got a lot to work with.
Yeah.
We can
Chewbacca down there,
You
bro.
actually do too. It's just blonde.
It's just blonde.
We'll do it.
We'll do it.
Wax on, wax off, baby.
All right.
No, dude. Thanks for having us on.
Of course.
I love you so much.
Love you so much.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Bye, everyone.